Now you see what the cool guys get to do is when it's cold and you can see your breath, they get to go down under and hunt water buffalo. Me? No. I've got a make-believe buffalo here out of a hay bale in my backyard and a foam bear. Welcome to my life. Howdy folks, Tex Grebner here with Tex Grebner Outdoors. Today we're going to be talking about two of my favorite hunting weapons, the bow and the spear. This bow is a 90-pound Martin Hunter. This is a cold steel Zamburu spear. Both badass pieces of primitive equipment. What makes something primitive? Being slower than the speed of sound, technically, which is also why the bullwhip is the first supersonic implement created by man, well before jets. Anyways, this video is going to piss a lot of people off because if you are a bushcrafter, if you are a survivalist, if you are a prepper, I can't take you seriously unless you actually go out and hunt with your primitive equipment. Why? Because under stress, you regress. I know, I'll rise to the occasion. No, you won't. You will not rise to the occasion. It's a fact that you will fall to your level of mastery. So if you don't have the skills to pay the caloric bills, you will die. It's a simple fact. May God have mercy on your soul. With that being said, hunting is a skill. You also have the skill of archery. In hunting, you have to get close with primitive weaponry, especially with the spear. I'm a spear enthusiast. I have hunted coyote with a spear because that's the only thing legal to hunt with a spear here. And honestly, I haven't had any luck even with a rifle trying to hunt coyote because guess what? Newsflash, hunting is difficult. That is why in masculine cultures, hunting has traditionally been a rite of passage for young men. But it's not just about men. Let's just reclaim our savage humanity and open the field up to girls. Women can do anything that a man can do, except the fact that they are going to have to physically work harder to do it. So ladies, be a Valkyrie. The purpose of this video is to talk about the obvious differences between the bow and the spear. Spears are badass. They're not badass because they're super effective. They are badass because of the amount of badass that you have to possess in order to get close enough to an animal to be able to spear it. The animals that are likely to let you get close enough to spear it are badass animals that have no fear of man. Why? Because deer, when they would see the amount of movement that it takes to actually throw a spear, are probably going to spook and run. That's just a fact of life. Also, there's only a few places in the world where free-range deer could legally be hunted with a spear. But the animals that you're going to be hunting with a spear are roughly the size of that hay bale, that have no fear of man. Cape buffalo, water buffalo, a bull moose crazy with rut that your guide calls past a pine tree. You're standing behind the pine tree, he comes past at 5 yards, boom! And here's hoping that he doesn't stomp your ass into the ground. So, I'm going to throw my make-believe buffalo down there. You see that? Right behind the shoulder. I am all that is man. So now I've got a practice spear here. This has got a shoe on both ends so that I don't tear up my bear target down there. Bear and wild boar are kind of the exception to the rule of large ungulates that you might be able to hunt with a spear, because bear and wild boar are both omnivorous creatures, so they're going to be aggressive and potentially predatory. They may still have a fear of man, but they're less likely to run away from you than a deer. The bad news is they're still pretty likely to come over and fuck up your day. So we got Mr. Bear here who's feeding on some berries. Got my spear here, and I got close to him by moving in a squat or a crouch so that he couldn't identify me as a human, and the wind is right that he couldn't identify me as a human. So I'm within my 10-yard window. And now I'm coming up out of my squat, right behind the shoulder. Super badass. Here's hoping he doesn't come over and fuck up my day. But even with the badassness of the spear, the fact is it took a lot of movement for me to put that energy into the weapon with my body. This is why, in fact, we have bows. Because spears, while they are badass, are not very easy to hunt with. So I can shoot Mr. Bear while I am in a squat and hit him right in the heart. Now I still have to get close, but I don't have to stand up in order to use the weapon. But I can shoot it standing, and there is a lot less movement. Now let's say there's something in my arrow's path. So I'm in a squat where I got to close enough to get my shot. Coming up, draw while I am standing, before the animal has a chance to figure out what I am, and release at the top of my stance. So squatting, he isn't looking, I come up, and I shoot. This is also, ladies and gentlemen, why a hunter should never skip leg day. So squatting, I got close enough, and yet again, I can either shoot from here, but if there's something in the path of my arrow, I draw in one fluid motion as I stand. Wasn't a particularly good shot, but all the others were in the 10 ring. So even with a bow, you still have to get close within the 20-yard window, but it takes a lot less movement that's going to draw that animal's attention than with a spear. Pop in a squat again. There's a log in the way. Draw and shoot. Now, I'm a traditional archer, and I'm also a spear enthusiast, and they're both pretty badass. However, spears are not legal to hunt in much of the country with, and bow season only comes once a year. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching. As always, God bless all my sportsmen of America. Join the NRA to protect our rights. Please check out my friends up at legallyconcealed.org. Thank you very much to those of you involved in law enforcement and those of you serving in the military. Thanks for watching Tex Grebner Outdoors.